Welcome to the New Mexico Public Preschool ECOT Data Collection Guidance webinar. This webinar will help to give some guidance around ECOT data collection during times of remote and hybrid learning. We know that this data collection is very different from how we are used to doing it with children in the classroom full-time. It is important to remember that the teacher and families need to work together as a team for this data collection. The teacher should contact families and ask questions to gain information to score the rubrics. We know that many teachers are concerned about the validity of the information they gather from families. But remember, families are our children's first teachers. All data collected from family reporting should be considered valid and accurate. Especially during this time, families have spent much more time with their children than in the past, and will have valuable information to share with teachers. If the family is uncooperative, the teacher will need to check with district or charter administration for guidance as to what the procedure will be after a designated number of no-shows on synchronous learning. It all comes back to the relationships the teacher can establish with families. If teachers are unable to gather data through synchronous learning meetings, asking families to submit videos is a great way to collect data. If families are not submitting videos, teachers should call on a regular basis, at least once a week, and ask questions to gather data. A one-page resource has been created to assist in data collection. In this document, you will find a family questionnaire that can be used to gather data around many of the essential indicators that are difficult to observe during remote learning. This resource can be found on the New Mexico Preschool Teacher Support Canvas page. A link to the Canvas page can be found on the PED Early Childhood Bureau website, or contact your early childhood instructional coach for a link. The essential indicators that we collect data on for ECOT have been sorted by collection method during this time of remote learning. As you can see, there are 3 different areas: collecting through synchronous meetings, collecting through video clips, and collecting through a family questionnaire. We are sure you have already been collecting data in these ways and may have collected in a method not mentioned here. If you have great ideas for data collection, at the end of the presentation, we will have a way for you to collaborate with other teachers around the state. We would love to hear from you. It is important to pre-plan your data collection prior to any large group activity or learning activity that you ask family members to complete through video clips. For indicator 1.1, please do not send students to public playgrounds. Follow COVID-safe practices. Have a family member video record from their phone the child climbing stairs, running, jumping, climbing, and marching. Submit the video via your district platform. If you have consulted with the family and they have reported that they do not have access to stairs or playground equipment, please document that conversation and you may mark this indicator as exempt. For indicator 1.2, this would be best collected through a video recording sent from the family. Have a family member video their child either walking on a curb, taping a line on the floor to walk on, or a yellow line in the parking lot. Also, ask the families to record the child throwing and catching a ball. For 2.1a, this is a great example of an activity that you can pre-plan and ask families to do at home. You can ask a family member to have the child use a writing tool and scissors, and have the family member record the child using the tools and share the video with you. The same activity could be done in small group or individualized synchronous learning as well. 2.1b is another opportunity to prepare an activity for children to do at home. It can be used with the CLOSE Home Learning Packet located on the NMPED Preschool Canvas page. Have families record video clips of the child buttoning a shirt and zipping a jacket, and then share the video with you. In indicator 5.2, you will want to prepare a family member to have items ready prior to the synchronous learning meeting. This example, the child would need a marker and a cup. Ask the child to put the lid on the marker and put the marker in the cup. Or, using a small toy in a cup, ask the child to turn the cup upside down and put a toy on top of the cup. For 6.1, you will want to pre-plan open-ended questions. Have your educational assistant also ready with the children's names on the Quick Looks document. Ask an open-ended question that is related to a familiar story or a very engaging event, such as, can you tell me about your last birthday party? Or, what would you do if you lost your toy like Trixie did in Knuffle Bunny? This would be best collected in small group synchronous meetings, so you have the opportunity to listen to each child. For reading comprehension, indicator 7.2, it is important to read a story a minimum of 3 times to ensure that children are prepared. This is a letters strategy that can be found in your letters book or on the New Mexico Preschool Teacher Support Canvas page. You will find a one-page resource. Prepare questions with supports of pictures that have the characters in the familiar book, vocabulary you have been going over from the book, and sequencing cards with 4 events from the book. All materials should be sent home in the at-home packets for learning prior to taking this data. You can also send families a link to a read aloud online, along with 3 to 4 comprehension questions. After the child listens to the book, have a family member ask the questions and record the answer. For 7.3a, have a family member prepare before the synchronous learning time with a familiar children's book. If a family does not have books at home, send one home in home packets before collecting data. Ask a family member to present the book to the child. Watch as the child handles the book, turning one page at a time, moving from left to right, top to bottom, and looking at the pictures, symbols, and signs throughout the book. See if the child can tell information about the stories. Your educational assistant can also help to be prepared and take notes and record the session. For indicator 7.3b, prepare your educational assistant with documentation with student names, such as the Quick Looks recording form. During small group learning time, read an engaging book. The educational assistant and/or teacher needs to be monitoring students to gauge their interest and enjoyment in a full story or text. Show students the illustrations and ask questions to see if they are able to gain meaning from the pictures. You can also send home directions for a family member to video themselves reading with the child or have the child independently read a book themselves. This can also be collected through the family questionnaire. Ask the family, does your child ask to be read to or pick up a book and read independently and point to the pictures? For indicator 7.4a, you can send home fun children's rhymes that are engaging or sing them during synchronous learning. Some examples are Humpty Dumpty, Itsy Bitsy Spider, Willoughby Wallaby Woo, Hickety Pickety Bumblebee, or a rhyming good morning song. Sing the songs during synchronous learning meetings repeatedly. Then give wait time to see if students can fill in the blanks or recite the songs independently.
To capture 7.4b, model with students, clapping syllables to their name or tapping syllables on their arm using their names. Watch that the child can do it for their name or their names of their friends. You can also ask a family member to record a child clapping the syllables of the names of family members and send you the recording. For indicator 7.5a, it might be helpful to have a name card calling system in place prior to collecting this data. Can the child identify their own name using visual supports during synchronous learning? The same can be done for identifying letters. Hold up letter cards and ask children to identify the letter. You could also make a letter slideshow that you send to families. Ask a family member to play the slideshow for the child and record the child as they name the letters. This indicator would be best collected during small group or individual synchronous learning. It would be hard to observe this data in whole group settings. For 7.5b, Prepare by modeling beginning sounds of familiar vocabulary related to book reads and beginning sounds of children's names during synchronous learning. You can say the sound like b, 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 and say, does the banana or the car make the sound? Have your EA or other staff members prepare to observe in small and large group to take data. Show pictures of McDonald's and stop signs, Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, Albertsons, and other grocery stores. For environmental print, you can also use the home learning packets on signs and symbols to help gather data. Activity 11 has environmental print examples on the packet. Indicator 8.3 is a portfolio sample. Teachers should model writing daily and use picture story, word story strategy to show stages of writing development. Ask children to write you a story after modeling picture story, word story. Have a family member take a picture of the writing and send it to you. You can also have a child hold up their writing and take a picture of your screen during synchronous learning. For 9.1, prepare for data collection by sending home counters such as beans or paper clips in a learning packet. If needed, have the family prepare before the meeting something small such as Cheerios to count in a cup. The family member should place 10 or less items in the cup. Have a child put beans on the table and count them individually. This would probably be best in a small group or individual meeting. It can also be collected via submitted video clip. For 9.3a data collection, model counting during synchronous learning. Send home the counting mat and exercise learning packet or create a counting mat that numbers are not in order. Say to the child, "Can you count for me?" and observe the child as they count. For 9.3b numerals, use the whiteboard on your synchronous learning meeting to write numbers, or show number cards and ask the children, "What number is this?" Family members can write various numbers at home and ask their child, "What number is this?" The family can then record and send you the recording. This slide is an example of the learning packet on the PED Canvas site. It can be used to collect data and sent home in a packet or support families that are struggling to participate in online learning. Indicator 10.1 can be collected in small groups or individual learning. You can show a shape on screen or draw it on a whiteboard and ask the child to name it. This is another sample of the Shapes Learning Packet from New Mexico PED Teacher Supports Canvas page that can be used to support data collection. Indicator 11.3 is a kindergarten-only indicator. Kindergarten teachers can show a picture and have a child describe two attributes using an object's weight or capacity. Indicator 12.1 sorting is another portfolio sample. In this sample, you can send home in your learning packets items for sorting, such as buttons or different types of beans. The clothing home learning packet in the Canvas website also has examples of activities that can be sent to families and ask for a video recording to be sent back. For Indicator 13.1, you can make a collage live together in your virtual classroom. Then have children make their own collage or sculpture at home using things around the house. Have a family member take a picture and send it to you. You can also read aloud a book such as Who Stole the Cookie from the Cookie Jar, and ask a child to make their own Play-Doh cookie. Have the family member send you a picture of the cookie.
For Indicator 14.1, you can have families provide two contrasting objects, such as something that's heavy and light, smooth or rough, wet or dry, sugary or salty, and record the child's reaction to holding or tasting the two items. In planning for collecting indicator 14.3, plan a science activity or use a literacy book to ask a question. What do you think is going to happen? Allow each child to give their prediction. You may choose to do this in small group learning time. This can be incorporated with the previous essential indicator. Before tasting a sugary and salty item, ask the child, what do you think this will taste like? Indicator 16.1 is a kindergarten-only indicator. Ask the child to describe the weather this past week. Indicator 18.1 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided in the ECOT data collection guidance document, which is found in Module 1B of the New Mexico PED Teacher Support Canvas page. Use these questions as prompts, but follow the conversation. Does your child know how to behave at a restaurant, a movie theater, at a park, at a birthday? What does that look like for your child? How does your child handle leaving the house? How many times do you need to remind your child of the expectations? Also, see the Back to School packet, Activities 1 and 2. Indicator 19.1 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided. Use these questions as prompts, but follow the conversation. How does your child care for his or her personal items, like their shoes, jackets, or backpacks? How does your child participate in cleaning up at home? Toys, books, bedroom? How much prompting or support do you need to give your child to do these tasks? Also, see the Back to School packet, Activity 3, for more ideas. Indicator 20.2 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire that is provided. To collect this data, use these questions as prompts. Who does your child say is his or her friend? Does your child have a best friend? What does it look like when your child plays with a friend? How long does your child play with a friend? Indicator 20.2 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided. Use these questions as prompts. How does your child react in a group setting when he or she does not get his or her way? Do you need to help support your child accept compromise or negotiate solutions with siblings and friends? Does your child have any strategies to deal with conflict?
You can collect data for indicator 21.2 during synchronous group meeting interactions. Think about whether the child has developed a relationship with you or with other staff. Does the child respond to your directions and communication with minimal to no prompting? You can also collect this by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided. See the next slide. Use these as prompts, but follow the conversation. What relationships does your child have with adults other than their primary caregivers? How does your child react to guidance from other adults? How are his or her relationship with other adults? Indicator 24.2 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided. See the next slide. Use these questions as prompts, but follow the conversation. How often do you have to start or initiate play with your child? What does it look like when you play with your child? This EI may be collected a few different ways. During small group or individual synchronous meetings, ask the child to pretend to be on the phone with you and see what they do. To collect a video clip, have an assignment with guidance sent home to collect data. You may ask families to record their child pretending to cook, using pretend items as a phone, or pretending to do adult chores at home. This can also be collected using the family questionnaire. Use these questions as prompts, but follow the conversation. Does your child pretend to do adult activities? Cleaning, answering the phone, cooking? Does your child use dress-up clothes? Does your child ever use a prop in place of an actual object while they're playing? Indicator 27.1 can be collected by asking family members questions from the questionnaire provided. Please see the next slide. You can ask these questions and follow up by asking, tell me how that looks. How long can your child play doing a self-selected task? Can your child play for 5 minutes or 10 minutes by themselves? And what does it look like when they do?
This slide shows a crosswalk of ECOT and ECO data collection. Data collection for ECO should be a team consisting of teacher, ancillary staff, and families via synchronous meeting. Go over each EI and ask how that looks when the child demonstrates the indicator at home. Rate the ECO on the calculator that is on the PED or the ECTA website. It is helpful to download the calculator for recording outcomes for the ECOs. Remember that the ECOs are federally mandated and must be entered 30 calendar days after the student is enrolled. Because ECOT may not be finalized prior to the entry of the ECOs, the assessment used to determine eligibility may be used for this first ECO collection timeframe. ECOT is our first choice and will show the most current data. The outcome 2 has a number of related EIs. Please see the continuation on the next slide.
This slide shows the rest of the EIs that are related to ECO number 2. For more information, please see this previous slide.
This is a link to the ECTA Center. It is in the Early Childhood Technical Assistance Center. It is part of the Office of Special Education and has an enormous amount of resources for teachers in 619 classrooms or supporting any special education student in a full inclusion setting. You should check it out and download the calculator. It is ectacenter.org.
We are hearing from districts and charters that some parents are not willing to bring their child in for vision, hearing, and dental screenings at this time. The guidance at this time is that parents do have the option to opt out of coming into school to have these screenings done. They are able to go to their own physicians to do these screenings. It is imperative at this time to remind families of the importance of preventative care even during times of COVID. The New Mexico Department of Health stresses the importance of keeping up with children's vaccine schedules, dental cleanings, and well visits during this time.
Be sure to check out the New Mexico Public Preschool Teacher ECOT Collaboration Facebook page. This is a great opportunity to collaborate with teachers around the state to share your great ideas of how you're collecting ECOT data and to see what others are doing.
Thank you for all of the hard work you are putting into your data collection. We know that it is different this year, and we appreciate all of your perseverance. Remember, your early childhood instructional coach is a great resource to help you during this time.